जय श्री माता जी। आप सभी का आज के इस सहयोग मेडिटेशन के ऑनलाइन ध्यान सत्र में हार्दिक स्वागत है। We welcome all of you to this online meditation center of Sahaj Yoga Meditation, which is organized every Saturday. Please request everyone to be seated either on the ground or on the chair as you prefer. कृपया आप सभी धरती पर या चेयर पर बैठ जाएं कंफर्टेबली। जो लोग आज पहली बार आए हैं वो अपने दोनों हाथों को खोल के अपने गोद में रख लें, जैसा यहाँ पे आपको फिगर में दिख रहा होगा। Those who are here for the first time, please open out your hands and keep them in your laps as you see in the figure before you. So now let us start by taking बंधन। आइए हम बंधन लेते हैं। अब हम श्री माता जी से एक रिक्वेस्ट करते हैं। श्री माता जी, कृपया हमें आज के इस ऑनलाइन ध्यान सत्र को चालू करने की अनुमति दे दीजिए। श्री माता जी, प्लीज ग्रांट अस द परमिशन फॉर टुडेज ऑनलाइन मेडिटेशन। सबसे पहले हम खुद को संतुलन में लाएंगे। फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, वी विल बैलेंस आवरसेल्व्स। पहली स्टेप में हम अपने बाएं हाथ को गोद में और अपने दाएं हाथ को धरती पर रखेंगे। We will first of all keep our left hand in our lap and right hand on the earth as shown in figure number 1. Please close your eyes. कृपया अपनी आंखें बंद कर लें और प्रार्थना करें। मदर, प्लीज क्लियर माय लेफ्ट साइड। श्री माता जी, कृपया मेरी इड़ा नाड़ी को शुद्ध कर दीजिए। आप इस प्रेयर को दोहरा भी सकते हैं। यू कैन ऑल्सो रिपीट दी प्रेयर। अब हम अपने दाहिने हाथ को गोद में लाएंगे और अपने बाएं हाथ को अपनी कोहनी से मोड़ के पीछे की तरफ करेंगे, जैसे फिगर नंबर 2 में दिख रहा है। Now we will bring our right hand back in our lap and bend our left hand from the elbow and point it towards the sky or towards the back as seen in figure number 2. We will close our eyes again. आंखें बंद करके प्रार्थना करेंगे। श्री माता जी, कृपया मेरी राइट साइड पिंगला नाड़ी को शुद्ध कर दीजिए। मदर, प्लीज क्लियर माय राइट साइड। हम इस प्रार्थना को दोहरा सकते हैं। You can repeat the prayer. अब हम अपने दोनों हाथ गोद में ले आएंगे. We will place both our hands in our laps and pray. Shri Mataji, please give us complete balance. माँ, कृपया हमें पूर्ण संतुलन प्रदान कीजिए. हम अपने ध्यान को अपने हाथों पे भी रख सकते हैं. We can also keep our attention on our palms. अब हम श्री माता जी की स्पीच सुनेंगे और उसके बाद आत्म साक्षात्कार की क्रिया करेंगे. Now we will listen to a speech of Shri Mataji and thereafter perform the steps of self-realization. Please be in this state of meditation. कृपया इसी ध्यान की स्थिति में बने रहें.
I bow to all the seekers of truth. I was very happy to learn that in Fremantle there are many seekers of truth. Maybe the blessings of the sea and the expanse gives rise to the curiosities to know what is beyond. And the time has come today, I think, that we are trying to find out what is beyond this human awareness, what is beyond human endeavor. Is it all a fruitless life? So many questions are peeping in. That's why I call it a blossom time, because there were never so many seekers in the world before as there are today. Of course, in ignorance, they might be misled into wrong paths, and they might be completely disillusioned as well. But whatever may be, truth exists. It is there. And to find it out should be the easiest thing for us. It should not be difficult, because it is so vital and so important. Whatever is vital has to be very simple, and so we call it sahaja. Sahaja also means spontaneous. It means born with you. It's the spontaneous happening of this living process within you of sprouting the kundalini, just like a seed sprouts when you put it in the mother earth. You can't pay for it, first of all. No, you can't. You can't have a course in it. It's not mental. It's something that is inside. Anything that says that by paying you can purchase God or gurus, then know that they are not anywhere near divinity. They have nothing to do with God. Because God doesn't understand money at all. He can only understand love and genuineness within you. So now we come to this subtle system that exists within us. I hope you are listening to me. Can you hear me? This subtle system that exists within us has been known to many people since long, but was kept a secret. I would say there were very few flowers on the tree of life at that time, and as I said, this is the blossom time, and many people have to have their realization. So this is the breakthrough into the evolutionary process. As you are a human being, you have to just have a little more jump to get to that point where you become the spirit. It is your own. All the system belongs to you, is within you. Only thing that one enlightened candle can enlighten another candle. That's how it works out. But there's no obligation. It's just we can say a triggering or like a catalyst it works. Now in this system yesterday I was telling you about is there are 3 type of channels you can see clearly. Have you talked about that to them? No. Now these channels are, the first one is the left side channel which supplies to the left side sympathetic nervous system. But in Sanskrit language it is called as the Ida Nadi. Also it is called as the moon channel. Is the left side which caters to your subconscious mind and to your collective subconscious. On the right hand side there's another area which we can call it as the one which nourishes the right sympathetic nervous system. This one is for your future. So we can say that the left one is the one which emits the power of desire, and the right one emits the power of action through your physical and mental being. So we have these 2 sympathetic nervous systems within us. In the center is the parasympathetic nervous system, which in Sanskrit called as the Sushumna Nadi. So the left is the Ida Nadi, which is the moon channel. Right is the Pingala Nadi, which is the sun's channel. And the central one is the Sushumna Nadi, through which we have now come to this stage of human awareness. From amoeba to this stage we have arrived through this system of parasympathetic activity. And whatever we have achieved through our evolution, we can feel it on our central nervous system. For example, if you have some dog or or an animal, a horse, it can pass through any dirty lane. It doesn't see the beauty of a building. It just goes through. But it's only a human being can feel the filth and the dirt and also the beauty. So in our awareness we have achieved a lot, but still there's something more we have to achieve, and that achievement is the absolute truth. So far whatever truth we have is all relative. We are finding this is nice, somebody says this is very nice, somebody says that's very nice. Somebody says communism is good, somebody says capitalism is good, somebody says this religion is good, somebody says that religion is good. It's all relative terminology. There's nothing absolute about it. So whatever is absolute we have to know on our central nervous system. That's what is called as Bodha in the Buddha religion, and as Veda in the Vedas. Also what the early Christians called themselves as Gnostic. Gna, the word Gna comes from the word Gna. Some people call it Jnana, some people call it Jnana. So the gna, from the gna means the one who has known on the central nervous system, not mentally, not reading something. It is something that you have to know on your central nervous system. And what do you have to know is the all-pervading power which is described by all the saints, prophets, and all the incarnations. You have to feel that subtle power which works out all that is living. We cannot explain how it works out. A little seed sprouts, becomes a big tree, and the tree bears so many seeds, which has so many trees. So the one little seed has all the maps of all the progeny it is going to produce. It's a tremendous thing. And this infinity, all that is built in one little seed, is like something is beyond our imagination, beyond our understanding. In the same way, within us lies this very subtle system which works out the last ascent. There's the power, as he must have told you, is the triangular bone called as sacrum, called as Kundalini. The other day somebody asked me the question that people say the Kundalini awakening is a very dangerous thing. It's not at all, because Kundalini is your pure desire. So now we have three powers. As I told you, the first power we have is the power of desire, ordinary desire. Now, desire is never fulfilled in general. Is a principle of economics, as you know, that in general is never satiable. Supposing today we want to buy a car, all right, you have a car, they want to have a house, then we want to have this, they want to have that. Whatever we have, we cannot enjoy. The desire goes jumping from one to another. That's power of desire. And the second one is the power of action, by which we put in physical effort and mental effort. We think, we'll have this, we'll work it out, we'll plan it. And sometimes that also leads us nowhere. And we really get absolutely flabbergasted the way we have missed the point. So all these two powers work separately, but human beings have a capacity to go to extremes, to left or to the right. If they go too much to the right, they cause a problem to their centers, which I would say are like this in the center. Now the left and the right, and in the center you see this is, you can say, is the spinal cord. Now in this lies the center, the subtle center. Now if you use too much of this or use too much of this, it breaks. When it breaks, you lose the control, or you can say that the connection with the whole is lost, and you become on your own. That's how diseases like cancer set in. Cancer is simple thing that you go to extremes on the right side or to the left side, and it's when it is triggered also by the right or the left side, it just separates like that. And then the cells start growing on their own, which is called as malignancy. Now somehow if you can bring them back to their original position, cancer can be cured. There are so many things like that which can be corrected very easily only if you know the fundamentals, the roots on which we stand. Our civilization has grown outside like a very, very big tree, but we haven't found out our roots. That's why they're writing these days that we are on the verge of shock. This is going to happen, that is going to happen. We have to find out our roots. Now, when we depend so much on science and advancement, we have to understand that it has certain defects in it. For example, science doesn't have any humanity. Science doesn't have any consideration of love and affection. It has no art in it. It has no consideration for other human beings. Science is blind. And if you go after science to that extent that the whole nation becomes blind, then it's possibility that you might just create some thing like atom bomb, hydrogen bomb, devil sitting on our heads, you see, telling us what we have created. So to get the balance, we have to see to the roots of this tree. And the roots are within ourselves, which we have to find out. These roots are, as he has told you, these three systems that work within us. One, which is the desire power, Another, which is the thinking power, you can call it, or a mental understanding that we have about things, or mental action, and the physical action. The central one is the ascending. As Christ has said that Holy Ghost will have three capacities. One is the comforter, then comforter is the left side, then counselor is the right side, and the central path is the ascending path, is the redeemer, by which you are redeemed. Now, when one system starts working, say the right system, which works very much in the modern times with people, we are planning like mad, and all the time thinking to create something new, to create something great. In that endeavor to create something new and to create something great, what do is to use our right side too. Now if you see, the right side is connected to a yellow colored center, a chakra, a sukshma chakra. Now this yellow center is the one that represents the energy for all the organs of the stomach. It helps to work out your liver, your pancreas, your spleen, kidneys, and part of your intestines. But it has some very important work to do, and that important work is to convert your fat for the replacement of the grey cells in your brain. That fat is converted to make it into grey cells. Now when you use too much of your brain, all the times you start using it too much, then what happens? There's an imbalance, and you start neglecting the viscera, which is the organs of your stomach. At that time, all these things like your liver, your pancreas, your spleen, your kidneys, all of them go out of order. I'm just giving an example of one side working too hard. So such people might get liver troubles. The liver is responsible for absorbing the heat in the body. It absorbs all the heat that you have, and then it releases into the water which is in the blood. But when the liver goes out of order, the heat remains as it is. Then it starts spreading upward. And when it goes upward, it can cause asthma and all such diseases which are due to the heat of the liver. Then, if your pancreas is also neglected, then you get a disease like diabetes. Now, diabetes is a disease very common with the people who think too much, who sit on their chairs and are planning. They get diabetes, not the villagers. Say in Indian village, they take sugar in such a way that the spoon has to stand at perpendicular. Then only they think it's tea, otherwise it's no tea. And they never get diabetes. They don't know what is diabetes is. It's only the people who are sitting on their chairs and thinking too much get diabetes. So this neglect of the pancreas creates this problem. The third one is much more dangerous. Is the spleen. The life today is so hectic and so full of tensions. Early in the morning, first of all, you read the newspaper. Of course, the newspaper always gives the most horrid news in the first page, you see. So it's a sensation. But as soon as you read that newspaper, your spleen goes into contractions. Because the spleen has a job to create red blood corpuscles for the emergencies. And such an emergency is a reason so poor spleen doesn't know what to do. After that, you're in a hurry, you just don't take your breakfast or may take it somehow, jump into your car and shouting at all the people who have jammed on the way. And then ultimately, if you reach your office somehow or other a little late, then you had it. So all this spoils the rhythmic system of your spleen. It's the rhythmic system. It gives you the rhythm of life. And when it becomes unrhythmically active, then it goes crazy. Because our life is a little crazy, and the poor spleen also becomes crazy with it. That craziness causes the vulnerability to a very serious disease called as blood cancer. It doesn't know when to produce more blood, when to reduce it, and it just behaves in such a crazy manner that a disease like blood cancer is caused. You'll be surprised, with Surge Yoga, with this Kundalini awakening, many people, at least I know at about of 10 or 12 people, have been cured of blood cancer who were certified to be dead within 1 year's time or minimum of 1 month also. They are all nicely kicking because it's about, I think, 6-7 years back they were cured of that disease and still living all right. So such diseases can be cured only by putting your Kundalini through those centers, nourishing them and bringing them back to normal and connecting them through the central path. It passes through the last center, as we call it, the limbic area. As you see, there is a limbic area. Beyond that, it crosses over the fontanelle bone area, which was a soft bone on your head, and that's how you get the actualization of your baptism. It's not just something artificial that I take the child and child is crying loudly and put some oil on that and say, now you're baptized. No, there has to be the cool breeze of the Holy Ghost coming out of your head. And such a person has to have the powers of a realized soul. And the powers of the realized souls are manifold. We can describe them in short, that first of all, once you get your realization, you know about yourself, about your centers. You know what's wrong with you. You know what's wrong with others, because there's another thing that happens to you, that you become collectively conscious. That means on your central nervous system, you can feel others on your fingertips. That's how you know what's wrong with them, what's wrong with you. If you know how to correct that part, you're all right. So health-wise, you become all right. Then mentally, we have seen many people who have been suffering from depressions and schizophrenia, and also many diseases. Even some cases of retardation of small children have been cured by Kundalini awakening. It's remarkable. Some people take more time, some people take very little time. It has worked out. It's fantastic the way it works out your corrections. It's like putting to the mains and you get all the energy flowing into you and you just get corrected. The third thing that happens to you, apart from collective consciousness, is that when the Kundalini crosses over this center of Agya, you become absolutely a person which has got a capacity, what we call, is of thoughtless awareness. That means you are absolutely aware. Now, if you want to think, you'll think, otherwise you won't think. You just don't get bothered about thinking. Just it's there, you see everything like a witness. You just see everything. Now say, for example, I see something beautiful like these flowers now. Somebody would say, oh, from where to get this? There's lots of thoughts. From where to get these flowers? How much should I pay for it? What should I do about it? Or else I just watch it. And when I would just watch it, just witness, then what happens? The joy of that creation, of that creator, just starts flowing from my head downward, cooling me down completely. There's no thought. It's like a lake which is absolutely rippleless. That's how the mind becomes. And all that is created around it reflects completely into it without any disturbance. Such a mind you develop, and that's what I call is the mind of a realized soul, which is so peaceful. Now we talk of peace, foundation of peace, and all that. I've seen the people now in the other life of mine, the one I lead as a wife of someone. I've met many people who are supposed to be Nobel Prize winners on peace and who have founded peace foundations and things. But in the foundation there is no peace at all. They are one of the most disturbed people I've come across. And how can they emit peace to others when there's no peace within yourself? And this is your own glory, your own quality within yourself. It is just to be awakened to have that peace. That as if you go from your peripheries to your axis and you are just looking at all those things that are happening. This is the peace that you develop. Then you get the capacity to know the absolute truth. For example, you can feel it on your fingertips. Now supposing there's a gentleman just coming out of the jail and wearing these robes and things, comes to Australia, see, everybody thinks he's a big guru. How will you make out whether he's real or not? In the beginning, he may not even take money from you, but ultimately he will. I mean, that's the attitude. After all, he's come all the way here, not for just for your benevolence, but for some money-making propositions. But still, if you put your hands towards such a person, you feel heat in your hand. Maybe sometimes it's blistering might. But if it's a real person, if it's a realized soul, whether dead or whether away from us, we can make it out whether that person is realized or not, if it's truthful or not. Even if you have 10 children and tie their eyes, if they are realized souls, you ask them, what's wrong with this gentleman? They'll show the same finger, all of them, meaning this is the center which is catching. So it's absolute truth, through that. And last of all, you become the joy. And joy doesn't have unhappiness and happiness. It just becomes joy. It cannot be described. It's to be experienced and enjoyed. As it is, when it passes through the center there in the green part, you see, we call it as void. This is a different void from what Zen talk about. But this void is where our valency is. We have 10 valencies. As you know, all matter has 8 valencies, animals have 9, and we have 10. These valencies get enlightened. So we get awakened in our own valencies, which is the innate religion within us. Such people don't commit any sins automatically. Like the saints never committed any sins, in the same way we do not, because we become so powerful. Now if you are following any religion, you are capable of committing any sin that you like. There's no bondage on you. But once this happens, you just don't do it. You just enjoy your virtues and virtues of others. It's such a beautiful life is ahead of us, which we call as the kingdom of God, where we have to enter into. These are the few things that happen, but the best that I have seen in England is that overnight people have given up drugs. Overnight. It's very surprising. Alcoholism. There was a doctor who was an alcoholic, and a very learned and a good doctor we took to alcoholism, and he was just about to finish. When he came to us, he got his realization. Now he's in charge of 7 hospitals, and he's reading paper about Surge Yoga in Helsinki and also in New York, and then he went to Boston. And now Surge Yoga is taking a very sort of a official form, because when I went to Russia, I was surprised at the Russian people, really very much surprised. Never expected even 10 people to come to my program, but there were 2,000 inside the hall and 2,000 sitting outside. And they were all sitting till I was speaking to others. When I came out, they were still there. And they said, Mother, now what are we going to do? I said, all right. Tomorrow you all come here. In the morning time, I'll be here. And all of them, the 2,000 inside and 2,000 inside, all of them were sitting there waiting for me to get their realization. And such beautiful people. And the reason may be that they're not conditioned like we are. We are free to think, all right, it's all right to think about politics and all that. There's nothing to think about politics. What is there to think about? Whatever is there is there. You can see that clearly. But the way they are, I think, because they don't talk of religion. They don't talk of God. There's no conditioning. They don't say we are chosen ones and that Jews are bad or Christians are bad or Hindus are bad and they are bad. Nothing. They don't know anything about it. They're like clean slates. And it's perfectly all right. I talked to them about God, Jesus Christ and everything. They didn't mind at all. They were very happy about it. That they said, this is the knowledge we were waiting for. And now you'll be surprised that Russia has accepted us as an independent organization. We are the only people who have got this. There are 3 doctors in Delhi, those who have got MD in Surge Yoga for curing epilepsy, curing asthma and other psychosomatic diseases. Now there are 7 doctors in London who are now doing research in this. Of course, we have to now prove the existence of God, existence of this all-pervading power, existence of this power which is God's love. It exists. We should not be so desperate in life. Whatever we are seeking is just at hand. I'm so happy to be here with you all. Yesterday, I allowed them to ask some questions. They asked really very good question, very relevant, and I think at least 90% got realization. I was very happy to see yesterday's crowd, and today I'm sure all of you are going to experience it. your own being, your own glory, your own self, what Christ has said that you have to be born again. It's not a certificate. It cannot be an organization. We have no organization as such. You cannot be a member of anything. You cannot pay for it. But it's just becoming. Becoming is the point. May God bless you all. I would like to have some questions from you. And then I hope we'll be able to do something about self-realization. All right.
अब शांति पूर्वक सब लोग बैठ जाएं और सब लोग मन में विश्वास रखें कि आप सबकी जागृति आज इस वक्त होने वाली है। मतलब ये कि अपने में दोष मत देखिए इस वक्त। कोई लोग सोचने लगते हैं मेरी कैसी जागृत होगी, मैंने ये पाप किया, मैंने वो पाप किया, और बताने वाले भी बताते रहते हैं कि तुमने ये पूर्व जन्म में कर्म करे, वो पूर्व जन्म में कर्म करे, उसके लिए इतना पैसा दो। ऐसी बेकार बकवास करते हैं लोग। जो ऐसा कहते हैं वही पापी है, समझ लीजिए। इस वक्त आप मेरे सामने कोई भी पापी नहीं, तो कृपया ये सोच लीजिए कि आपके अंदर जो भी दोष है, जो भी हुआ सो बीत गया, उसका अब विचार नहीं करना है। इस वक्त आप शांतिपूर्वक यही सोचिए कि मैं बिल्कुल दोषी नहीं हूँ। ऐसा सोचने से ये चक्र पकड़ता है। जब आप सोचते हैं कि आपके अंदर दोष है तो यहाँ पे ये चक्र पकड़ता है। इससे अनेक बीमारियाँ हो जाती, जिसे अंग्रेजी में स्पॉन्डिलाइटिस कहते हैं, अनजाना कहते हैं, और तरह तरह के प्रकार इस एक चक्र के पकड़ने से होते हैं। तो हो गया सो बीत गया उस वक्त के, अब तक क्यों आप लेकर बैठे? इस वक्त गलती हुई, उस वक्त ठीक करना चाहिए। तो अपने को कृपया माफ़ कर दीजिए। और दूसरे ये कि सबको आप एक तरह से, पूरी तरह से माफ़ कर दीजिए। उनके बारे में सोचना भी गलत है, क्योंकि उससे भी सर दर्द होता है। अब ये बात सोचिए कि आप माफ़ करें या नहीं करें। आप करते क्या है? कुछ तो नहीं करते। क्या करते हैं आप? कुछ नहीं करते। लेकिन जब आप माफ़ नहीं करते तो अपने को छलते हैं, सताते हैं उन लोगों के लिए जिन्होंने आपको सताया। इसलिए आप पूरे मन से इन सब को माफ़ कर दीजिए एक साथ। उसमें उनके बारे में सोचने की भी ज़रूरत है। बाकी आप लोग तो एक बड़े पवित्र देश में रह रहे हैं, तो अपने इस धरती माता की पवित्रता को देखते हुए और उसका अंदाज रखते हुए आप लोग कृपया दोनों हाथ मेरी ओर इस तरह से करें। सब लोग थोड़ा ऊपर इस तरह से, दोनों हाथ इस तरह से, क्योंकि ये जो 5 उंगलियां हैं और 6 और 7 और 5, 6 और 7 ये हमारे चक्रों के संकेत हैं। और डॉक्टरी में इसमें इनको सिंपैथेटिक नर्वस सिस्टम के एंडिंग्स माने जाते हैं। तो आप हाथ इस तरह से रखें। इस तरह से हाथ रखने पर चाहे तो आप चश्मा निकाल लें, कोई ज़रूरी नहीं। अब आप मेरी ओर राइट हैंड रखें इस तरह से और सर झुका लें, और ये देखें कि ब्रह्मरंध्र से, जिसे कि हम तालू कहते हैं, जो कि एक स्निग्ध सा हिस्सा हमारे सर में बचपन में होता है, उसके ऊपर अधांध्र अपना लेफ्ट हैंड रखें, सर झुका के देखें और देखिए कि आप ही के अंदर से कुछ ठंडी या गर्म हवा जैसी चैतन्य की लहरियां आ रही हैं क्या? देखिए, आदि शंकराचार्य ने कहा था इसका वर्णन सलीलम सलीलम, ठंडी ठंडी हवा। आशा आपने जूते उतार लिए होंगे, और जो लोग कुर्सियों पे बैठे हैं दोनों पैर अलग कर लें, बाकी सब ठीक है। अब देखिए आ रहा है क्या? चैतन्य का प्रवाह आप ही के सर से आ रहा है क्या? आप शंका मत करिए, ठंडा या गर्म। अगर गर्म है तो इसका मतलब है कि आपने अपने को क्षमा नहीं की या दूसरों को क्षमा नहीं की, तो अभी कृपया आप क्षमा करिए। किसी किसी को दूर तक आता है, किसी को नजदीक आता है, पर सर को छूते हुए हाथ मत रखिए, ऊपर। अब आप लेफ्ट हैंड मेरी ओर, और फिर से सर झुका के राइट हैंड से देखें कि आपके तालू भाग से कुछ ठंडी या गरम गरम हवा आ रही है। मुझे तो लगता है, बहुतों को ये लगता है कि आप दोषी हैं, इसलिए भी गरम हवा आ रही है। कृपया ये सोचना बंद करिए। अब एक बार, आखिरी बार, फिर से राइट हैंड मेरी ओर करें, सब लोग करें। और फिर सर झुका के लेफ्ट हैंड से देखें कि ठंडी हवा आ रही है क्या। बहुत से लोग बेकार बातें करते हैं कि कुंडलिनी जागरण से ये होता है, कुछ नहीं होता। आराम मिलता है, तकलीफें जाती हैं, बीमारियां जाती हैं, मानसिक शांति मिलती है, अनेक विध शक्तियां जागृत होती हैं। ये सब इसलिए कहते हैं क्योंकि उनको जागृति आती नहीं है। हाँ, अब आप लोग दोनों हाथ सर की तरफ, और एक प्रश्न पूछे, 3 बार एक प्रश्न पूछे कि माँ, क्या ये परम चैतन्य है? क्या ये ब्रह्म चैतन्य है? मुझे माँ कहिए, श्री माता जी कहिए। मन में पूछे 3 बार प्रश्न। अब हाथ नीचे ले लीजिए। अब दोनों हाथ मेरी ओर करके इस तरह से, और मेरी ओर देखें और सोचिए नहीं, मेरी ओर देखिए और सोचिए नहीं। किसी किसी को नीचे से हवा आ रही हो तो वो नीचे से उठा के ऊपर ले जा सकते हैं, इस तरह से 2-3 बार करने से ऊपर आ जाएगी। मेरी ओर देखें, विचार से परे, माने विचार न करें, वो कर सकते हैं। इस तरह से आप अपने मन से परे उठते हैं और आपके अंदर निर्विचार समाधि स्थापित हो गई। कितने जल्दी हो गई, इसका कारण है ये कलयुग का जोर। हर चीज यहाँ जल्दी होती है। अब देख लीजिए, कोई पेड़ हिल नहीं रहा, कोई फूल हिल नहीं रहा, लेकिन ठंडी हवा आ रही। पर जो चीज आसानी से मिलती है उसका महत्व हम लोग समझते नहीं। इसलिए अब आप अंकुरित हो गए, और इस अंकुर का आपको वृक्ष बनाना ही पड़ेगा। यह आपका कर्तव्य है अपने प्रति। और जब ये बनेगा तो आप भी हजारों को ठीक कर सकते हैं, यहाँ की दुर्दशा ठीक कर सकते हैं, सब में परिवर्तन ला सकते हैं। ये आपकी जिम्मेदारी हो जाती है। आप सबको मेरा अनंत आशीर्वाद, अनंत आशीर्वाद।
अब हम थोड़ी देर ध्यान में रहेंगे। हम अपने हाथों पे और अपने सर के ऊपर अपने ध्यान को रख सकते हैं। Now we will be in meditation for a while, and we can place our attention on our palms and on top of our head. जय श्री माता जी। अब हम धीरे से अपनी आंखें खोल सकते हैं और श्री माता जी को धन्यवाद देते हैं आज के मेडिटेशन के लिए। We can gently open our eyes and thank Shri Mata Ji for today's meditation. अब हम बंधन लेते हैं. Let us take बंधन again. आज आप सब हमारे साथ जुड़े, आप सबका हार्दिक धन्यवाद. We thank all of you who joined us today. यदि आप में से जो सीकर्स आगे इंटरेस्टेड हैं फर्दर इन सेशंस को ज्वाइन करने के लिए या सहयोग मेडिटेशन के बारे में और जानने के लिए, तो वीडियो के डिस्क्रिप्शन में दिए हुए गूगल फॉर्म को प्लीज़ ज़रूर भर दें और सहयोग के बारे में अधिक जानकारी के लिए स्क्रीन पे दी हुई वेबसाइट को विजिट करें. For those who are interested to continue these sessions, please do fill the Google form given in the description of the video, and please visit the website shown on the screen for more information on Sahaja Yoga meditation. Thank you again for joining. आप सभी का जुड़ने के लिए वापस से धन्यवाद. आपसे अगली बार मिलते हैं.